thought Jackie couldn't get any cooler. And I have to say, ever since we saw Jackie featured in the Kombat cast, we have a lot of positive reactions to this character that we first saw in Mortal Kombat X. So how do you feel seeing Jackie kind of evolve into this type of character? And how do you still kind of have a bit of the relationship between her and her father, Jax?
That's one of the things that's really expanded on in the story, and we're really excited about, the fact that, we introduced her in Mortal Kombat X, and she's one of the fan favorites, and, warranted bringing her back is so cool. Her moves that we actually released a video a couple of days ago, she plays completely different from how she did before. That's one of the things we want to do with our characters. They come back, they always play a little bit different. And the fact that people have embraced her so much is one of the coolest things of the game.
Well, because she looks so cool. Steve, when it comes to the characters themselves, there's so many within the lexicon of Mortal Kombat. So can you guide us through the process of the design of the character for this specific game? How do you make those choices and still stay true to, either it being a classic character or creating a whole new one that feels right in the Mortal Kombat universe?
Absolutely. It's always fun to design Mortal Kombat characters. I've been doing it for 25 years now, and it's always with this game, we always start out with just doing loose sketches, just about countless sketches actually, and then we kind of just whittle it down and get it in front of Ed and just kind of mix and match parts and make it we always. We're very much a group effort where we all kind of agree on it. But with this game especially, designing upgraded versions of past characters, those characters back in MK3, I remember were like 128 pixels tall. There was just itty bitty. And now we have just amazing tech that we can really, really push it. And so it's fun. With established characters, it's always kind of tricky. You can push the look, but you don't want to make it so far that it doesn't seem like the character anymore. But I like that with this game we could do new versions of characters as well as bring back the classic looks as well.
And Dominic, what was that process like on paper of either looking at a classic character and going, okay, what would they be doing 25 years later? And also bringing in a new character, where do they fit in the process?
Yeah, sure. With the returning characters, it's trying to make sure, again, we were talking about before, that it's a natural progression of where they were. So we look back at MK9, we look back at MKX, and say, okay, what is that next step, and where do they play? And we were talking about Jackie and Jax a little bit earlier. That was one of the things that we couldn't really get to explore because of where the narrative had to go in MKX was that relationship between the two of them. So it's like, okay, now we got another opportunity to take another bite at this. How can we deepen that? How can we show more of that father-daughter relationship between the two of them? With the new characters, what we try to do on the story side is when we know, okay, there's going to be X number of new characters, we have to figure out, based on the story needs, who are they going to be aligned with? Are they going to be Team Raiden? Are they going to be Team Shao Kahn, Team Kronika? And then once we know that, coming up with a basic idea of, where do they come from? What is their relationship in terms of the plot to these characters? And then sort of creating this loose sketch about, who they're aligned with, what they're doing, what they're fighting for, and then let the rest of the team figure out how they want to design them both in terms of look and also the play, and just so that we have just this foundation from which everybody can spring on. And certainly where the new characters come in, the rest of the team has taken these in directions that we never contemplated when we were writing it, and they're that much better for it. I mean, they've really turned out amazing.
And then, Shanna, for you, when you see the concept of a character like Kronika, and you go, what if we could do this in this cinematic? Does that kind of spark the imagination for your team when you see those first type of concepts or ideas coming from the writers or the art team?
Yeah, we definitely try and we really want to see the concept art or at least the character so we can kind of get ideas of what they do or what they can do in story or fatalities or anything like that. And it really helps kind of drive stuff that we do in game, like with magic, or if we want to implement a certain prop or something, is it feasible? Does it go with their character? Does it go with their look? And we go on and we alter from there.
And then Derek, from a gameplay standpoint, I mean, it has to actually work in the game itself, despite any type of a design. So what is that like for your team once you see the art, once you see the concept and go, okay, how do they actually play in the game?
Well, so once the email goes out going, hey guys, here's the cast, pick which characters you want. It's basically a race to respond as fast as possible. Because everybody in the design team are huge Mortal Kombat fans. We've all grown up playing this game. We all love these characters. And so we kind of claim who we want for the game. And then obviously if they're like a legacy character, you have a good starting ground. But new characters like Garrus, right, then it's an open palette, and you really get to have fun and bring these characters to life. And we've done some really new stuff with him. For the most part, we look and research what they've done in the past. We try and blend that into their current style, but then give them new twists on everything that they do.
Can you give us a time frame of how long does it take to create an entire move set, move list for one character?
No.
I loved how big your eyes got. Like, it's quite a process.
It is. Yeah. And it all depends also on disciplines, when we can get things. Coming up with a character, creating a shoot list is, maybe a good week. And then getting it implemented, effects. I mean, they take upwards of a month plus to get characters polished and ready for the world to see.
One of the things that I am very impressed with, and I think a lot of people will agree, are the facial animations in this game. And we have seen the technology improve over and over again in film, or more and more in film, and now with video games we have a lot of motion capture. But Steve, if you can kind of break down first the process of the facial animation, what it takes tech-wise, and how happy you guys are to see the final result.
Yeah, I'm totally proud of our studio in terms of facial animation and just facial quality. We kind of starts with going to like looking at modeling agencies and picking out, that would be,
There's my Johnny Cage.
Yeah,
There's my.
Yeah, it's actually
okay.
it's a fun process, and then we bring
You're casting director pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, that's very much a group process, and we pick out what we think fits the character the most. And then we bring the talent in, and we have a room that is, I forget how many cameras there are, but it's just a room that has cameras surrounding the talent, and the talent just sits there and goes through these facial poses, these like scriptive, tons of facial poses. And this is all designed by our character lead, Brendan George, like ridiculously talented guy and genius. And so we basically get the 3D scans of the models and all these different poses, and have an elaborate skeletal rig that drives the face. And actually, Dominic can probably go more into or Shanna, the animation side of it.
Yeah, the animation side, we hook up I'm sure you see like the making of videos where it's like the headgear braces looking thing with the camera and a bright light in their face, and we put little dots on their face, and we have the mocap actors kind of basically lip sync what the voiceover actors have done, and then as they talk, it gets interpolated into a software, and it mimics those facial poses that they're making while they're talking to the ones that Steve was talking about as we do our scans. And it's not automatic. There's a lot of still hand keying and cleanup needed, but we get the base phonemes and mouth flapping.
I can just imagine the notes in the room, like, okay, the next pose is you're being sawed in half, and action.
Yeah.
Make that face.
In a lot of ways, it's almost full circle. Like, back in MK1, 2, and 3, we would do something very similar. We obviously, they were 2D games, but we would go through agencies and pick out, that's perfect Sonya, perfect Katana, and bring them in and film them.
That's what caught everybody's eye way back in the day, seeing those renders of, is that a real person? And they're fighting in a pit, and those are spikes. Oh no, I mean, was a lot of fun, 20, 25, 26 years ago, but you guys continue to raise the bar. And Shannon, I want to jump into more the fatalities. One of the things that makes Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat. You have a number of slides to show us, so let's go ahead and break that down.
So, like all things, it starts with the storyboard. We do have a meeting, and we all talk. Derek's in the meetings with me, and we talk about ideas and like things that are relatable to each character type and what we want them to do. Also, just like sometimes we're like, what would be a cool way to slice somebody? How do we do that? So this is for Baraka's fatality, face off. This is the starting pose. Of course, he grabs the face. Boards by Tony Godsky. This is the panel for the actual face grab. He had a lot of fun with it. The face comes off. Then he throws it. It splats on the ground. Baraka then grabs the face again, digs in deep, and pulls off his meat and skull, showing the brains and tongue, like in real life. Throws that away, pulls out his arm blade, stabs him in the head, and then is like, oh, this might taste good. And has a little chomp. And then from those, we take it to mocap. Oh, shit. Oh, I did a bad. I went too far, I'm sorry.
You saw nothing. You saw nothing.
Nothing. There was nothing.
Yeah, hold on, everybody, hold on.
No
We're
one
gonna
told me
get
the
there.
clicker didn't have a stopper. I know, I botched it. Anyway, back to Baraka. So from here, we go to the animatic stage / we do the animatic and then we do the mocap where we capture the fighters, and then I take it into Motion Builder where I set up the cameras and shakes and edits and do the cinematography for it. I believe we have a video for that as well. It's very basic. It's just plain models, plain background, temp props. It's not as cool looking as the final product. No facial poses or anything. And then from there, after that gets edit, locked, and approved, I take it into the Unreal Engine where we set it up. It gets a lighting pass, an effects pass, and it becomes what it is in the final, which we also have a video for, if anyone needs a refresher.
Fatality. Baraka wins. Flawless victory.
And that was such a huge hit at the reveal when everybody got to see that for the first time around the world. One, they were excited Baraka was back, but two, that the fatalities are even more creative and look incredible.
Yes, we have way too much fun with that.
All right, well, let's keep going down the list. Ed, what is new? What is fresh with Mortal Kombat 11? Let's talk about some of the features and variations. And
well, gameplay-wise, we're really expanding on an idea that we introduced in Mortal Kombat X, where we wanted to have multiple versions of characters that played differently and would kind of make for more interesting matchups. And we're expanding on the idea by letting the player create their own version of these iconic characters, Scorpion, Sub-Zero. You can literally make the Mortal Kombat 3 version of Scorpion, or you can make the Mortal Kombat 2 version of Sub-Zero, and kind of like being able to kind of construct your character and then bring them online and fight against other people. That whole customization and personalization is like the big new feature as far as gameplay wise.
And the stress test was so smooth with the netcode. It seems like you guys continue to improve upon what we've seen in previous games. What has that feedback been like regarding the stress test?
It's been great. It's one of the greatest things about these online stress tests and everything is it's kind of like QA times 50,000 people, and so we get tons of feedback. Just makes the game better and better. We're going to release the pre-order beta on the 28th, which is going to add 2 more characters. We're just as excited to see people get their hands on the game.
And we're right around the corner. Steve, let's talk about customization when it comes to what the characters look like, because this is one of the coolest things that we saw with Injustice 2. Now we have different gears, different skins, different ways to make your character your own in this game.
Yeah, for variations, we really built off a lot of the ideas that we established in MKX and in Injustice 2. Like Ed said, it's so cool seeing old versions, retro versions of Scorpion and past characters, but really in addition to just the look, customizing the intros or just making the character that you want is really, really cool.
And Derek, we do have Towers of Time. Now, one of the things that a lot of people really loved at the previous game was the amount of time they could spend solo, rocking through different types of scenarios with their character, not having to rely online to have those type of matches. Tell me about Towers of Time, how excited you are to have that feature.
Yeah, so it's bigger than it has been before. And we're actually bringing back some classic mechanics from older Mortal Kombats. Like we're bringing back endurance fights, we're bringing some throwbacks to stuff that we've done in classic games. And it's an ever-changing environment. So you have towers that'll last a couple hours, some that'll last a few days. But the thing that I think that's really cool that we're doing is we're also adding in a single-player competition. So every single week, people that are playing Towers of Time are actually competing against one another. And there are some towers that will require people to actually play together to overcome the boss or to defeat a fight. So it's not always just people playing against one another in Mortal Kombat. You actually can join forces and make some duos that you enjoy being together to overcome some bosses and some fights. It's really cool, and I'm excited for the world to get their hands on it.
Thank you very much for having those features, because I know some days I don't feel like getting my butt kicked online. I'll play Towers of Time, and I feel a lot more confident going back online. All right, folks, now that we have your interest, it's time for your attention, because one of the things that we always love is who's going to be on the roster, and one of the things we always love is some of those secret characters of the Mortal Kombat days of yesteryear. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to reveal another fighter on the roster for Mortal Kombat 11.
Feeling is mutual, brother. Mother would be so proud. Fight!
11. We can finally say it. We can finally say it. Ed, my God, I've seen this trailer twice now, and I'm still hyped every time I see it. I'm going to watch it so many more times. Tell me about the history of Noob Saibot.
Well, as some people who might have been following us from when we were making the arcade games, Noob Saibot was just like another, palette swap ninja that would basically, we had to make another character out of what we had. We created Noob Saibot. And so he was just kind of like this hidden character. And then over the years, we've just introduced him, given him some story, backstory to him, and just adding all the more nuance till it gets to this point. Now, everything you guys have seen here is a result of all these teams kind of combining. You see how the fatalities are made. You've seen the animations. You've seen how detailed the characters are, the beautiful backgrounds, all of that stuff. It's a massive sea of people all contributing to create that content that you saw.
And every single piece of gear on him feels so real. Like, you could actually imagine him putting that on. The detail is impeccable. And Steve, I want to ask you about this new look, because before, when we saw Noob Saibot, looked like totally black Spectre, Revenant Ninja. This guy's got some battle armor, and he's got, I want to call it a mini scythe or a sickle?
He's fucking awesome. I'm really, really. No, he is. Plain and simple. It's just he has been in. He's obviously a staple in Mortal Kombat, but I'm really proud of Brendan and his team, and the effects guys and animators. Everybody. His moves are just ridiculous.
Yeah, and in addition, like I said before, he was just this character with no story, and that was, Dominic can talk a little bit about, actually giving him a backstory. Where does he exist? How does, tie him to Sub-Zero and all that?
Yeah, I mean, we were building on obviously what had come before, like the idea that he was the original Sub-Zero turned Wraith. That was pre-MK9. We built on that in MK9, and then here in MK11, we are really paying off the rivalry between Bihan and Kuai Liang and what they stand for. Bihan, who was kind of all into this very evil version of the Lin Kuei, and Kuai Liang rejecting that and trying to build a new Lin Kuei, and what does that mean? And not only through the story mode, but also through all the intros the characters have, the arcade ladder endings that are in the Towers of Time feature, all of this stuff, all this content really rounds out that story and continues to give it more depth. And as we're writing this, we're always trying to just keep adding layers to what the history of Mortal Kombat is.
And I love that line from Mortal Kombat 9, "We share blood, but we are not brothers." And that pretty much set the tone for these guys. And I'm so excited to see that further expanded here in Mortal Kombat 11, because these are two of my favorite characters of all video games, really. And I'm really excited to see what's going to happen in this title. Okay, trying to calm down a little bit after seeing that trailer. So, when it comes to the look, I mean, overall, the story of him being that Revenant, how did you make those decisions, Steve, of art style, we want him to look this way, but still be recognizable as Noob Saibot? How did you make those decisions?
Yeah, so it's always a challenge, Of course, we mentioned the story guys, Dominic, really giving us, definition of what the character is inside and out, and how he fits in the story. Then we do a ton of concepts, but we always want to push it. And this look, I am really proud of the character guys and our concept guys of really pushing the look, because he's not just a pure ninja black, fully in black. There's silver elements and different material changes, and they really pushed it, and I love that new look. It's just bringing in the silver and making it look like he's going into to battle. And
he has seen some stuff.
just more of a Spectre look, and just a more sinister look than ever. So I'm really proud of the entire team.
Derek, gameplay-wise, portals have come back.
Oh yeah, and definitely using his clone to summon his clone to assist him during combos and things like that. I mean, that video, there were some sweet combos in there, man. I don't know what you said, but yeah. So his gameplay, it's very true to who that character is. And I think time and time again, design and the team has shown the characters' personalities come through their fight styles, through their mannerisms, through everything they do. And Noob Saibot is just another great example of it.
I want to know what meeting happened in order to design that fatality, because when I saw that for the first time, I'm like, what does he do? I've never seen anything like, what is happening? That was my whole progress of watching that video. So Shanna, what was it like for your team to create something like that?
Well, that's the exact reaction we want. I think the idea was, what would be gross? Oh, hands and mouth. No one wants that. So we did it.
Yep, and that's how you make magic, folks.
Yep. Give the people what they don't want, but they do. So yeah, that one was one that definitely I think started with like a cut.
But I think, well, because we always listen to everybody in the studio, and we'll cast a net and say, hey, does anybody have any ideas? And one of our QA guys, Jim O'Leary, was like, hey, I've been thinking about this, guys. And we listened to it, and then we bounced it off the room. We brought it in, bounced it off the room, and then you have that, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, folks, are you ready for another reveal? Yeah? Ed, we have one more thing that we'd like to show the folks before we take some questions, so I think let's just roll the video, then go from there. Okay, let's take a look.
Welcome, traveler. I am Shang Tsung, and this is my island. I bid you welcome to explore. Hidden among the island's ruins are treasure, magic, and very special artifacts. Take what you want, within reason. You'll find that time spent here is well rewarded.
This truly is a magical moment because I feel Mortal Kombat has come full circle. That is the actor, Cary Tagawa, who played Shang Tsung from the film. Ed, I'd love for you to elaborate more.
Well, you know what? This is, Mortal Kombat, since Deadly Alliances, we've had a feature always in there called the Crypt, where people can go in and unlock things. Each version that we've done has been more elaborate than the last. And for this one, we decided to get Cary Tagawa to be your guide, your host of the Crypt, and he's kind of narrating with you, going around. And what's exciting is, in addition, Shang Tsung, Cary Tagawa, is our first DLC character that we're going to have.
The Crypt feature allows people to invest time, get more rewards out of the gameplay, and to have a guide like that. I could not think of a better way to spend an entire Saturday and Sunday, and I'll call off work Monday to play this game. I'm so thrilled to see everything that we've presented here today, folks. This is truly a monumental title that is coming out in just a little bit over a month. This is going to be a big deal, and I'm so excited that we got to share a number of pieces of information with you today here in the house. We are going to take some questions. I would like to politely remind everybody that we will not be confirming any more characters for today, so please do not waste your question asking about any other characters that have not already been confirmed. And now we'll go ahead and take questions. Thanks to our moderators. And we're getting the microphones ready here.
Right. Keep it professional. Gotcha. All right.
All right, looks like we're setting up the first question. Well, I have a question, and I'm going to ask this one to Derek. Derek, When the game finally comes out, do you guys run an in-house tournament to see who is the best?
There's no need to, because I would win.
How did I know that was the answer already?
Hey, get off it. I know Tyler won this week. It's okay. Chill out. Front row, chill out. Tyler knows we have to fix some things to let him win. It's okay.
Okay, do we have our first question ready? Yes, let's go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I am from here in Chicago. Hopefully you guys are having a great time. Thanks for doing all of this. You're the reason we're here for C2E2.
Oh, thank you, Ryan.
I have a really interesting question. I'm curious, which character was the first character you started development on for Mortal Kombat 11?
Wow, 11? You know, I don't think we started just one character. We work very much in parallel. You know, the various characters are in different forms of development, whether it's, you know, concept art, modeling, you know, animation, motion capture. So I don't think there's one that's, you know, led the charge.
A big group of characters that we all love. Thank you for the question. Next question. Hello.
Hello. Hi, my name is Dennis, and I'm here from Chicago. And I wanted to ask, what are you guys' favorite characters?
We'll go down the line, starting with Derek.
Melina. All day, Melina.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a tough one. I really do enjoy Johnny because we get to have a lot more fun with him.
Just in terms of the range we get to ride him with, it's got to be Johnny Cage. We can have so much fun with him. It's crazy.
It's got to be Kano. He's my first character I ever played in Mortal Kombat, and still, he's funny, he's brutal, he's awesome.
And mine's Scorpion.
Thanks.
And Katana for me, but Melina close second.
Hi, my name is Patrick Casey. I'm from Chicago, born and raised. First off, I just wanted to say about that new projection accident, it's okay. It happened.
Was it an accident, or did you guys wake up after you saw it?
Either way, it was still awesome. So my question is, I wanted to know what was your biggest challenge with creating this with this game? Whether it's designing the fatalities or writing the story, what do you think are each of your biggest challenges in this project?
I'll start.
Yeah.
So from design, it is changing the way the game plays and feels, but still feels familiar enough for every player to be able to pick it up and be like, oh, it's Mortal Kombat, but to still change its mechanics, to change the moment-to-moment action, this game being more neutral and footsies and more strategic than any other Mortal Kombat has. That's really been like our main focus, and I would say the main thing that we work with.
For cinematics, it's probably the tech that can restrain us, but it also allows us to do a lot. So a lot of times we come up with creative solutions to get around any roadblocks.
From a writing perspective, it's number one, we're telling this time-bending story, and it's just making sure everything makes sense, and we keep it all straight for the players so nobody gets lost. And then the second part of that is making sure that as we're bringing these characters together, past and present, that we're being true to them and how they interact with each other and move their story forward so we're not just repeating ourselves.
I think art-wise, getting the characters to look real, you know, getting the skin to look right, getting the eyes to look, you know, right, getting the innards to look the way they should, and you know, that's the biggest challenge, making characters, you know, look as real as they do, and I'm really happy that they do.
You really nailed it, Steve. They sure do.
Nice.
They look amazing.
Thanks, Steve.
And Ed, for you?
Well, my general answer would have been that, you know, again, Mortal Kombat is a group of teams that are, you know, can be, you know, making their own project in itself. You know, the story team, cinematics, animation, you know, characters, backgrounds, audio, you know, everything, you know, every single one of those teams have these, you know, monumental mountains to climb, and just the volume of content that we have in this game, cramming it all in there and getting it all ready for everybody is probably on our biggest biggest scale, the biggest challenge.
It's crunch time. We are so ready. Next question.
Dave, Rockford, Illinois. Microtransactions and/or loot crates.
There are no loot crates in Mortal Kombat 11.
Thank God, yeah!
Cha-ching. All right. Thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Carlos Ovalle. I born and raised here from Chicago, and I once, my twin brother right here, we both visited your NetherRealm Studios back in 2015 during the production of Mortal Kombat X, post-production that is, and been playing your game since the SNES version, the original one. So I'll break down to my question here that regarding to the in-game animations that I just noticed from the past games that they seem to be a little bit stiff and awkward at the time, but seeing that your MK11 that you made some significant improvements. Have you been listening to fan feedbacks about it?
So listening to fan feedback for the ending animation.
Yeah, we're always listening to fan feedback, and every game, our animations are getting better and better and smoother, and it will continue to happen. We have these amazing motion capture artists that come in that really are selling these punches. Our animation team is scrubbing through these animations to make sure that they feel as realistic as possible. And we'll continue to do that with every single game to make it more and more realistic, more smoother, everything we can do.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Derek. When it comes to the trailers, it's still a work in progress too. So people will even see the first trailers that we had for Mortal Kombat 11. You'll see even more improvements in the animations later on. So that work in progress is still continuing as these guys are making some awesome trailers to get you guys hyped. Let's take the next question.
Hey guys, name's Adam from Tampa, Florida, and I gotta say this is really awesome. It's fun to see this in person. I've followed Mortal Kombat games forever since I was a kid. The lore is great. You guys are just really nailing it, and I love that it's still going today, strong. So I like to play the game competitively as well for fun. I was just curious, will the customizations for each of the character be all completely tournament legal, or how is that gonna play out with what's allowed in tournaments and stuff?
We're actually don't want to cop out on this, but we're actually going to do a whole announcement on what rules we're going to do in a future date very soon, as far as how we're going to deal with the tournaments and variations and how they play together.
Okay, that's fair. And then one more thing: is Noob Saibot's clone really just a clone, or is it something else?
In terms of story?
Yeah, is there something more to it?
Dominic?
I think I want to leave that open to interpretation.
Cool.
Ooh, the mystery of the
Thank you
remnants.
guys.
Good answer.
Thanks for the question. Next one.
Hi, my name is David Ovalle. I grew up here in Chicago, and I've been playing Mortal Kombat since the 90s. And I was being quite an old school gamer myself, but also like to play modern games. But in terms of old school gaming, will we be seeing another arcade collection for the current generation consoles anytime soon?
Arcade collection of previous MK titles to be released in the modern day console world.
So we would not release a classic, a Mortal Kombat collection unless we felt it was true to those classic games. And it would have to be done perfectly. And arcade games, the classic arcade games for the most part is really where they should be played. That's how you actually feel and get a sense of that classic game. It's hard to emulate those on today's systems and consoles. But we're always listening to the fans. We know that you guys want a possible collection like we've done previously, but it has to be true to the classics before we would ever release anything.
Would still love to see Mortal Kombat 1 for the Nintendo Switch.
Put it on the wish list for Christmas, man. I think we'd all love that. All right, next question.
Hello, my name is Twyla. Over the decades, you guys have had dozens and dozens of characters and then costumes on top of that. how do fans directly impact your designing of the costumes for each character? Because I know you've done costumes contests in the past and like that, but not all the time. So do we behind the scenes in our comments affect your costumes and coloring and designs?
Absolutely. We go online all the time. We listen to what fans like, don't like, and it's always a challenge. We can't obviously do exactly that all the time, but
why not?
But we always we always want to push the look forward. So yeah, but we do look online and are influenced.
I'm already going to put together a Noob Saibot cosplay myself. I mean, that thing is amazing. All right, next question.
Hi. Okay, there we go. Hi, my name is Jake. I'm a writer for That Video Game Blog, and I'm from here in Chicago. I have a lot of questions, but I'll stick to one. Starting with DC and sort of going from there, you've brought in a lot of characters from other franchises into Mortal Kombat. How have you dealt with the challenges that come from, melding these unrelated things?
Like previous guest characters like Alien or Freddy. How do you kind of bring them into the universe, meld them into Mortal Kombat?
Well, there's a lot of variables involved in getting that. There's getting the rights to do it, getting Mortal Kombat, as you know, is a really, really violent game, and so whoever lets us do put their character in the game is going to have their face ripped off by Baraka, obviously. So anybody who's willing to kind of go that route, that narrows it down. And then at that point, it's amongst the team. A lot of people, what do we want to see? We're children of movies that were in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and so it's just our influence, what we would be excited to work on. That's a big part of it.
Jason Voorhees is one of my favorite characters in MKX. It was so cool. All right, we have time for one more question.
Hey guys, my name is Casey from Chicago. I want to start off with a really, really quick short story. Not to sound weird, Ed, back in the day, one of my cousins, without naming names, actually dated one of your cousins. And for my birthday, though, you actually you signed an autograph for me. I wasn't able to meet you in person, but you gave me a very inspirational message. You said, "Happy birthday, Casey. Finish him, finish her, finish school."
Finish school, yeah.
Yes. And I wanted to let you know that due to your inspiration, I did finish school, graduate all 4 years of college. So thank you very much. It's been years. That's it. This was about 13 years ago when Deception came out, and I never got to thank you for it. So, and just one quick question: can we see chess combat back, by any chance?
I guess I would never say never, but unfortunately, it's not going to be an MK.
Oh, come on. No, it's good.
All right, folks, thank you so much for joining us. A huge thank you to our panel today. They have been working hard, perfecting their talents as artists, and we are so thrilled to bring you this finished game on April 23rd, launching on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PC, and the Switch. Pre-order your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One copy, and you'll be able to participate in the beta starting next week, March 28th through the 31st. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
Keeper of time. I guide the destiny of the realms. But my work's perfection has been tainted by Raiden's actions. I enlist all those who disdain the current course of history. By merging past and present, we may draw upon allies from both eras. I offer a greater empire in the new era. Will your Outworld armies defend it?
They shall.
Kotal Khan, we have common cause. Solving this temporal crisis. And in defeating Shao Kahn.
I will have my scouts track Shao Kahn. Can't someone, anyone, explain to me what the hell is going on? Right? I've been in the future for a whole hour and I haven't seen one jetpack. Not one.
Came from rock bottom with nothing that I saw with wings. I am not stopping, I'm coming if there's more to see. Ignore the dream, now they gotta applaud the king. It's my ego trip. I'm hoping you enjoy the scenes. I'm a monster, yeah, you should be avoiding me. I'm a restless
Elder gods, the realms are in crisis.
Every being will be erased in a temporal Armageddon. Find Kronika's keep and gain control of her hourglass. Only then will time's momentum be restored.
We've got to take out Netherrealm's army now, before Liu Kang can bring it here.
As my strength gathers, the new era draws ever closer.
Take the others.